foremost, the most important skill is presence of mind. You cannot lack presence of mind while you're working as a flight attendant. Second of all, you need to be physically and mentally fit, right? And lastly is you need to be presentable. Yes, that is definitely there. But the first 2 points are super duper important. So why is it important? Let me just share a quick story, okay, or a quick experience of my own self. So this was almost 1 to 2 years back. So I was the second in command of the flight. So basically it was a night flight and we were operating from Pune to Lucknow and it was a 3-day pattern. So what is a pattern? Pattern is basically you have, let's say, day return flights. So I was flying out of Bangalore and I used to operate both, let's say, day return flights. So I was flying out of Bangalore and I used to operate both domestic as well as international flights. So at that point of time, I was out on a 3-day pattern. First day, I was staying in Pune. Second was Lucknow. And third was probably Kolkata. So yes. So while flying from Pune to Lucknow, it was a full-fledged flight, okay, with lots of toddlers, kids on board. And since I was the second in command of the flight, so I had a couple of people who were working under me. So we were almost about to land and it was night time, okay? So we were just like few inches just before touchdown. Now, what is touchdown? Touchdown is when you're just about to land, okay? So that is known as touchdown. So just before touchdown, we suddenly took off and we kept circling for good 25 minutes. What is circling? Circling is basically, let's say, how many of us are familiar with the word ATC, which is air traffic control? So air traffic control is basically the body which gives signals to the captain. Okay, like whether we can land right now or not, whether we have traffic in the airport right now, yes, bad weather, anything. So all the communications, like how on ground we have the traffic police, the traffic signals, right? So similarly for aviation, you too have something known as ATC. It's there in the chat box, which is air traffic control. So I normally thought that, okay, you know, basically we might have got the signal from ATC that it's not okay to land right now. So hence we're circling, which means going round and round, which is normal at times when the traffic is too high. But then suddenly captain calls me up and he goes like, Shireen, the port side of the engine is not functional. So what does that mean? So you have two sides of the aircraft, right? Like two wings under which you have the engine situated. So on the left side is basically known as the port side and the right side is known as the starboard side in aviation. We do not say left, right, but we say port and starboard. So he tells me that the port side, okay, so basically, like the port side of the engine, okay, is not fully functional. There can be chances of fire as soon as we land. Cool. And then he also tells me that the landing gears of the aircraft. Who knows what a landing gears? Anyone, any wild guess? See, it does not have to be right or wrong. It's just your perception, your understanding. Landing gears, anyone? Yes, the tire. Okay, like the wheels of the aircraft. So he tells me that the wheels of the aircraft is not fully functional and you need to have proper landing gears, which would help you in landing. So two things, right? The engine is like has chances of catching up fire. And secondly, the landing gears aren't fully functional. So my flatmate, who was my R2, which is like, let's say like the third junior most in flight. So who was my flatmate and she was, you know, very panicked at that point of time and she didn't know how to go about. And trust me, at that point of time, the only thought that crossed my mind was, what if something happens to me tonight? I am in a state wherein I will not even be able to call up home and tell them that probably this is the last time you're gonna hear me speak because I am caught up in a situation like this. So that thought crossed my mind, but then immediately I had to act as per the situation, because people started panicking that what is going on, so on and so forth. And the entire flight was very chaotic. And imagine wherein I was having to handle my own crew members. And second of all, passengers, which was of utmost importance. So at that point of time, like the captain calls me up and tells me that please be ready with your scarf, with your flashlight, with the smoke commands, because you have different commands to give at the time of different happenings that take place. So yes, definitely. But then do you all think that if I did not act with a proper presence of mind, would I have been able to help myself and help the rest of the people? What do you all think? So that is why having presence of mind is super important. That is why once you start getting the training, you all will read that outside the cockpit. So cockpit is basically where the captain functions, right? So it's written there that leave all your mental worries behind the door. And it's not just for the crew, but it's for the captain as well. That is why we celebrate International Cabin Crew Day. That is why the job role of a cabin crew is not just about the glitz and glamour and the travel and the money. It's so much more, because if you ever face any sort of emergency, you only get 90 seconds to rescue yourself, to rescue everyone on board. And if within 90 seconds you're not able to do that, let's say if it's a ditching, which basically means landing on water. Okay, so the aircraft starts to sink. And if it's a crash landing on land, then the aircraft starts, so the aircraft just catches fire within 90 seconds of time. So that is why you need to be mentally and physically fit and have a proper and sound presence of mind.